Hashem Yitbarach, we want to speak today about the beginning of Siman Pei Daled, and that is Shratzei Hamayim. As we started, we already spoke about Shratzei Hamayim, but now more to the basic, and we learned about the Shratzim of the Mayim. We'll see where you learn it from. Where's the Isur in the Torah for Shratzei Hamayim? Also, it says here that even if the Shratzei Hamayim is permitted, let's say it's still in the water, in the borot, shichin, me'arot, places that would be permitted, not me'arot, which the Shratzei Hamayim are asur, but it's still asur mishum bal teshaketzu. You see a bug, and you're drinking it, you're taking it, and you're drinking it, shoche v'shoteh, it's disgusting. So over here, the Shach and the Taz already say, eno choshesh im izdamnu, says the Taz bet, beisur ve'eter katav, ודווקא שאין מאוסים עליו. It's only if you're not disgusted by it. אבל מאוסים עליו, that's אסור משום בעל תשקצו. So what does that mean, אין מאוסים עליו? You're drinking bugs. אין מאוסים עליו.
I assume he notices it. And it's not just...
How is it not מאוסים עליו? So we need to...
Also, if you don't see it.
Right.
Oh, so let's see the Shach. The Shach says, משמע שאפילו משום בעל תשקצו אין בהם. Because that's, otherwise, how do you drink it? וכן כתב וראה בחינוך, ואף על גב דלעיל סימן י"ג, over there we're saying that normally things that are not, don't need שחיטה, you don't have to eat them, you don't have to shech them, you don't need to shech them, you can eat them without שחיטה, like חגבים, דגים וחגבים, that's what it says over there. But the Rama says you still can't have them חיים because of בעל תשקצו. So fish, you need to kill before you eat. You don't need shchita. Chagavim, you don't need to be shochet, obviously, but you could eat it the way it is. But you must kill it beforehand. Otherwise, it's bal teshaketzu. Take it like this. That's let ba also mishum ever min hachai, because it doesn't need shchita. There's no isur of ever min hachai. So you're allowed to practically take the fish like that, and while it's alive, I should demonstrate again.
Looks like there's two type of batishaket.
Oh, he's already 5 steps ahead of us. We just started. Let's see a little bit, and then you'll tell us all the different svei dinim and 3 dinim, all the lomdes. I don't know yet. I don't know anything yet.
Not all way fish, it can be even dangerous, eating it alive. But
Okay.
a lot, I don't know if it's dangerous, it's more being disgusted. But
Okay, we'll get to it. בעזרת השם, we'll see. אפילו דגים טהורים אסור לאוכלם חיים, משום בעל תשקצו, שניחה, כיוון שאין כוונתו אלא לשתות המים, וגם אינם באין. So he says the idea of אינם באין, which is an important point, and if you take a look at the Pri Megadim, he goes on that, he says that really, they both agree on the same idea, אין חולק על התז, לכאורה, you can say that it's מחלוקת, the Taz said, but he says אין חולק על התז, דאו מיירי באין מאוסים עם המים, which means you could drink it without being מאוס. It probably means that, והתז אומר שאם מאוסים עליו, אף עם המים ודאי יתבה בעל תשקצו. Now, אין מה שכתב בתז בשם פרי חדש, אמנם הכנסת הגדולה, בהגות הטור, כתב שכל מה שרוב העולם מואסים בו, אף שלידי אין מאוס, אסור לה. וכל שכן אם לא מאוס, זה בזה כולי על מודים. So we'll see מחלוקת in that, the כנסת הגדולה, and the way Pri Chadash explains. We'll see that in a moment. But we see that there is a din of being something that is not Ma'us alav. Something that is not Ma'us alav. How is it not Ma'us alav? The most practical is in the way that you don't see it. So let's say the Sheretz Hamayim that you take, let's say, from the sink. For instance, Obelsky says, we spoke last year, he says that the copper pots are permitted. You take the cup and you drink it. Even though the Sheretz Hamayim inside, no problem. What about Bal Teshaketzu? Since it's not visible to you, you don't see it, you don't feel disgusted, it's permitted. What about other people? Other people also, Rov HaOlam. According to this Knesset HaGdolah, it says, Kol שרוב העולם מואסים בו, אף שלדידי אין מאוס, אסור. But over here, רוב העולם אינם מואסים בו. They drink it, they don't feel it, it will be permitted. That's why it's brought down in the halacha over here in many places that such thing would be permitted. There's no isur whatsoever. One is allowed to take it the way it is and drink it. Okay, so we found this halacha in various places the way I just explained. That if you can't see it, the שואל ומשיב ask, לכאורה שייך בו משום בל תשקצו, and he answers, ואפשר כל דלא חזי, האחר שאינו רואה, לא שייך בל תשקצו, דווקא למי שרואה שייך בל תשקצו. You see it, this בל תשקץ. You don't see it, you don't feel it, you don't, even though you know it's there, it will be permitted. Just like we found, Ravuna said to his mother, there's shratzim in here, ivlali, mix it up, make it sure that I don't see it, ve'achile. I will eat it. It's not a problem. So,
that he shouldn't see the bug and he shouldn't feel disgusted?
So that's the idea. If you don't feel disgusted when you don't see it, it will be permitted. So I posted, for instance, for instance, a class of how to clean strawberries, right? So sometimes we get comments like, funny comments like, I just ate a strawberry, or the bugs are proteins, they're very good. If a person doesn't care, it's asur mishum. But if a person doesn't care, there's let's say the strawberries has bugs. You don't care. What do you care? It's so small. You don't feel it. So there's no isur bal teshaketzu. There's other isurim. There's sheretz hashoretz al haaretz, but it's not bal teshaketzu. You wouldn't be asur for that. And this is also how the Shkol brings down in Sof Ilchot Trefot and many other poskim. So there's the basic of this idea. We see it's pretty much accepted. So now, whether it's Isur D'Oraita or Isur D'Rabanan, we found the machloket in that. Machloket Rishonim. In the Rambam, it's not so clear because it seems to contradict, and the poskim deal with what does the Rambam really mean. In some places, it seems like it's the Oraita, some places the Rabbanan. Definitely there's the Isur of Bal Teshaketzu the Oraita in the Rambam, but we'll see exactly what it goes. It goes on Sheretz HaMayim, not on things that are disgusted, specifically about Sheretz HaMayim. And then he extends that to anything that's disgusted. What does it mean? It's an extension of the Isur the Oraita, or it's a Isur the Rabbanan. It's not so clear. The poskim say that the Rambam, it seems like from that Rambam that I mentioned, in Shaarei Samayim, that it's the Oraita. This is how Rabbi Yonah brings down in Shaarei Tshuva, in Sha'ar Gimel, Seif Tzadik Gimel, he says that it's Isur D'Oraita Bal Teshaketzu. Anything that, what's Isur D'Oraita, we'll see in a second. Sefer Iri Mitzvah Kuf Nun Aleph brings this down. The Rashbash in Siman Rashayin Daled brings the same thing. Those that hold that it's the Rabbanan, it's the Meiri, and Ritva in Makot Tet Zayin, that the Gemara brings over there the din of Bal Teshaketzu, the Trumat Adeshen in Kuf Tet Zayin, also the Rashbatz brings like that. What is the din exactly of Bal Teshaketzu besides what the Rambam says, La Halacha, that it is of Sheretz HaMayim? So we found this in few places in the Shulchan Aruch. For instance, the Shulchan Aruch brings that on Mashhen Nekavav, a person that doesn't go to the bathroom when he needs to go to the bathroom is over on Bal Teshaketzu. We already mentioned the Rema in Siman Gimel that he says that whenever you take something alive, like Chagavim and Dagim, you take a fish that's alive and you eat it, it is a Yisur of Bal Teshaketzu. And then the Shulchan Aruch gives you a whole list of things in Siman Kuf Tet Zayin in Yoreh De'ah, Sif Vav, he says, Asur le'echol ma'achilim u'mashkim shenafsho shel adam katza behem. Anything that you are disgusted by, you violate Bal Teshaketzu. Kegon, what's the examples? Mashkim v'ochlim shenit'arvu behem ki yotzoah. If somebody put something disgusting in it, somebody threw up in food, you're not allowed to eat it. It's Bal Teshaketzu. Lechas rucha, something disgusting fell in there. Lechas rucha, the saliva or somebody. So that's disgusting. Today I learned the Mishnah with my son that Mishnah in Shabbat, very interesting, very much nogea to this. Look at this. It says in the Mishnah that machilim mebehema lebehema. You're allowed to take from the food that belongs to the horse or the donkey and give it to the cow. Why? Cow is not disgusted. But the food of the cow you can give to the donkey. Why? Because it's disgusted. All the saliva, all the schmutz of the cow. It's not, even a donkey understands Bal Teshaketzu. So, lechas rucha וכיוצא בהם. וכן אסור לשקול ולשתות בכלים מצויים שנפשו של אדם קצה בהם, כגון כלים של בית הכיסא. Person would take something from בית הכיסא. Disgusting. Like the potty of his son. He cleans it. It's 100% clean. He wants to put in the water to drink. It's כלים מזוהמים, it's כלים מגעילים. So if was over on בת השקט, כלי זכוכית שמקיזים בהם, כלי זכוכית is clean, it's not בולע, still, it's disgusting. וכיוצא בהם, כן לא יאכל בידיים מזוהמות. Person that wants to eat with hands that are not clean, ואל תשקצו. על גבי כלים מלוכלכים, שכל אלו בכלל אל תשקצו את נפשותיכם. So we found this idea in various places that it is asur. The halacha also brings down that one is not allowed to have sheten, the urine, is not allowed to drink that. That's asur mishum bal teshaketzu. In other words, a person can ask, why should it be asur? What's the isur? Isur is bal teshaketzu. The Radbaz brings down, the Radbaz on the Rambam says that it's mutar for refuah. And the Mordchi in Shabbat also says the same thing, that for refuah purposes it would be permitted. ושתן, שאלה חזקה. אבל זה לא הולך שם. כבודו שואל טוב, אני לא אומר שלא. אבל זו סוגיה אחרת. זה ההיתר. In other words, he says there's a couple of things that should have ever מן החי. Eggs and chalav. And the Taz brings down in the beginning of Basar B'Chalav, he says that we don't have ever min hachai because of those psukim of Shiluach HaKen and that permits you eggs and Eretz Zavat Chalav Udvash. Chalav means not necessarily chalav. It's not. It's chalav izim, tumarim, dvash tumarim. So the halacha, let's see the halacha. I'm reading you now the Minchat Chinuch, Mitzvah Kuf Samech Daled, on in Parashat Shmini, where it speaks about the Isurim of Shratzim, and one of the Shratzim that's Asur is Sheretz HaMayim. Now it doesn't say in the Torah Sheretz HaMayim are Asur. It says Sheretz HaShoretz Al Haaretz for Sheretz Haaretz. It says Sheretz HaOf, but it doesn't say any place to Sheretz HaMayim. Where is it that you'll find the Isur of Sheretz HaMayim? Right? It should be mutar. By the way, the Rambam, the Ben Ish Chai brings nicely, he says that it's known that there's four lavim for Sheretz HaMayim, 5 lavim for Sheretz HaAretz, and 6 lavim for Sheretz HaOf. He says it elevates from the bottom, Mayim, then Eretz, then Of. But let's see how the Rambam learns this. Not necessarily that the Rambam would agree to such a thing. But so again, where do you find Sheretz HaMayim? So says the Minchat Chinuch, and this is from the Sefer HaChinuch from the Rambam. לא לאכול משרץ המים, שנאמר אל תשקצו את נפשותיכם בכל השרץ השורץ, ולא תטמאו בהם ונטמאתם בם. So it doesn't say here one word about שרץ המים, it just says אל תשקצו את נפשותיכם בכל השרץ השורץ. It doesn't say which kind of שרץ. So we'll see, that's a discussion. ושרץ המים ידוע עניינו, שהוא מבריאות דקות השטות במים, והם נקראים שרץ המים. In other words, he wants to exclude fish. Fish is not sheretz. It's two different things. Also, bugs and animals are two different things. What is the difference? Rashi says in Parashat Shmini, sheretz is anything that crawls with very tiny feet. In other words, even if it doesn't have tiny feet, let's say it has huge feet, like let's say the mosquitoes do, huge feet. But they crawl on the earth. They look like very much on the... It looks very close to the earth. They appear very close to the earth. So that's called the sheretz. Unlike an animal, so you have a dog, he has legs and he's uplifted. Any animal would be uplifted, but it's something that crawls very low on the ground. That's the shmona shratzim, for example, that are much bigger already. A chomed ve'aleta'a, much bigger. They're not tiny, but they are low on the ground. That's called sheretz. So same thing he says here, sheretz hamayim, shu mibriyot dakot hashatot b'mayim. He says those will be on the ocean, but the same thing. They don't have the legs are very small, and shatot b'mayim nikot sheretz hamayim. And this doesn't include in it דג טמא, שאין אלו בכלל דגים כלל, כי מין אחר בפני עצמו הוא לגמרי. Now, this is the Rambam. זה דעת הרמב"ם זיכרונו לברכה במקרא הזה, שעל זה בא ללמד. What is the איסור of שרץ המים? This פסוק. לא, בל תשקצו goes on שרץ המים. והרמב"ן, זיכרונו לברכה, חולק עליו בזה. וכתב כי הלאו הזה איננו לאו מיוחד על שום שרץ. This is not a lav that's designated to שרץ המים or any other שרץ, אלא שהוא מן הלאווים הכוללים שאין לוקים עליהם. This is lav kollel that comes to tell you don't eat something that's disgusting, or kollel all the things that are not permitted, כמו לא תאכל כל תועבה, הכתוב במשנה תורה בתחילת הפרשיות של איסור בעלי חיים, וכן וכאן אמר בסוף כולם אל תשקצו את נפשותיכם בכל מהלכי האדמה שאסרתי. anything that's אסור for מהלכי האדמה, ייכנסו בזה בהמה טמאה, ואיסור עוף טמא, ושרץ העוף, ושרץ הארץ, כי כל האסור והמורחק נכלל בשיקוץ. That's what it is. And there's a big discussion in the Rambam, he says over here, and the Ramban. העריכו על הלאו הזה, שניהם זיכרונם לברכה, גלגלו בו מה שאמרו זיכרונם לברכה, and so on and so forth. So let's see a little bit the Rambam, which is very interesting in one hand, and secondly, it's nogea very much to what we're speaking about right now. And we're saying like this, the Rambam, in Sefer HaMitzvot, Mitzvah Kuf Ayin Tet, writes the following. First, he goes and he explains something and he rejects what he explains. It's a little bit confusing, the Rambam, because he speaks it out like he holds that way, and then he rejects it. He says, no, that's what the poskim that made a mistake. This is how they learned. So let's see how he learns it. היא שהזהירנו לאכול איזה שרץ שיהיה. מבלתי ייחוד. Without designating something, שרץ, any שרץ, goes under the איסור of בל תשקצו. Same idea like the Ramban. בין שרץ העוף, בין שרץ המים, בין שרץ הארץ, any שרץ goes under this לאו כולל. מבלתי ייחוד. Without designating something. והוא אומרו יתברך, אל תשקצו את נפשותיכם בכל השרץ, אל תשקצו את נפשותיכם בכל השרץ השורץ ולא תטמאו בהם ונטמאתם בם. זה לאו בפני עצמו ולוקים עליו. והוא דומה לאיסור כולל. And there's a rule that the Rambam said, האיסור כולל, you're not locate, we'll explain. לפיכך, מי שאכל כלום משרץ הארץ, you eat שרץ הארץ, you eat, let's say a bug that grows on the ground, you eat mite, you eat cockroach, ant, לוקה שתיים, אחד משום שרץ השורץ על הארץ, and secondly, אחד משום אל תשקצו את נפשותיכם בכל השרץ השורץ. This love joins along with every other love. מי שאכל כלום משרץ העוף, so he's לוקה שתיים, אחד בכל השרץ העוף תמאו לכם לא יאכלו, ואחד משום אל תשקצו את נפשותיכם. So this goes along with all the other איסורים. ואם אכל בעל חיים אחד בעצמו, והיה אותו בעל חיים יעופף והלך על הארץ. He also flies, and he also goes on the ground. עד שיש שרץ העוף ושרץ הארץ, he has two features. חייב עליו 4 מלכויות, as we explained before. ואם חובר על זה גם שיהיה משרץ המים, יהיה בו 6 מלכויות. So that's how you add the loving. This we explained, that's how some of the ראשונים explain. and he says, ואין אצלנו כתוב לאסור שרץ המים, זולת אומרו, אל תשקצו את נפשותיכם בכל השרץ השורץ את הארץ. He says, the Rambam says, we only found the איסור on שרץ המים. That's very important to know, because we're learning on שרץ המים, and one can go and search in the Torah for שרץ המים, you're not going to find that the Torah asks שרץ המים, so where do you know that it's אסור? So he says, the איסור comes from this love. ובאלו השורשים אמרו בגמרא, מכות, אכל פוטיטה, לוקה 4, נמלה לוקה 5, צירעה לוקה 6, as we explained in the beginning. זהו הפירוש שפירש כל מי ששמעתי אומרו, או ראיתי דבריו בפירושו, אשר פירש בזה המאמר, שהוא אכל פוטיטה, לוקה 4. This is the פירושים of all the ראשונים that I saw, says the Rambam. All the מפרשים explained it this way. He says, והוא פירוש בלתי אמיתי. That's not true. That's not the right פירוש on this. לא יימשך ולא ישלם, אלא על חילוף השורשים האמתיים שבא להם המופת בלשונות וזה, כי אתה כשתעיין במה שהקדמנו, we gave already ההקדמה, the Rambam gave שורשים in the beginning, explaining what goes unto loving and what not. תמצא שחייבו 3 מלכויות מלאו אחד, והוא אל תשקצו את נפשותיכם בכל השרץ השורץ. וכבר התבהר ביטול זה. That's not possible that you be לוקה from various loving on one איסור. כבר התבהר ביטול זה ושלא יקרה 2 מלכויות עליו אחד בשום פנים, כמו שביארו בחולין. And you're going to give you example. So in other words, he's trying to say, it's not possible that you'll be violating one thing, you'll be doing one thing, and you collect upon yourself different loving. You could make a maaseh isur, like the Mishnah in Makot says, and by that violate many different things. You are plowing on Shabbat, which is Yom Tov, on place on Shana Shvi'it, you're a Kohen, Bebet HaTumah. So these are various different things, but you can't eat a bug, and which is one type of bug, and either sheretz haaretz, let's say, and violate with that various loving. המאמר האמיתי אשר לא תטמע ממנו ולא תרחיקהו כי מי שאכל בעלי חיים יהיה הוא בעצמו, whether it is שרץ העוף ושרץ המים ושרץ הארץ, לוקח 3 מלכויות בלבד. So you have different, within that bug, different features, different things that he does. He also on the ground, also in the ocean, also. So there's 3 different, משום שרץ העוף שהתבאר בו לאו, ואחד משום שרץ הארץ, ואחד משום אל תשקצו את נפשותיכם, that we just said, that goes on שרץ המים. ואם אכל שרץ הארץ לבד, it's only an ant, לוקח אחת משום שרץ הארץ, you can't get more than that. וכן על שרץ העוף, אחת משום שרץ העוף. וכן שרץ המים לבדו, אחת משום אל תשקצו את נפשותיכם בכל השרץ השורץ. That's it. You can't start accumulating איסורים. ואין בהיות זה עליו כולל שרץ הארץ לוקח על שרץ הארץ 2. כאילו באו לנו 1,000 לווים, even if you collect 1,000, מועברים כולם בשרץ הארץ, all on שרץ הארץ, אינו לוקח עליו אלא מלכות אחד. לפי שכולם נכפלו בעניין אחד עצמו. The Torah doesn't want to add on loving upon you to be לוקח more and more and more. ואפילו אמר, שרץ הארץ לא תאכל, שרץ הארץ לא תאכלו, שרץ הארץ לא יאכל. וכן 1,000 פעמים, which means the Torah repeats the same איסור over and over again, לא יתחייב עליו אלא מלכות אחד. Beautiful chidush in the Rambam. It's not that the way that normally you learn, because in the Gemarot you see that there's somebody that's lokesh ta'im. So he says no, because the Torah was kofel, the isur shte pa'amim. We found this over and over again. So the Rambam denies all that. עתירי אלו שקבעו זה השורש הנפסד, יסברו שמי שלובש שעטנז, there are those that feel that if you wear שעטנז, לוקח 2, בעבור שבאו בו 2 לאווים מבוארים. It says the isur twice, so you should be לוקח twice for שעטנז. לא ראיתי מעולם יסברו זה, אבל יגנו אותו אילו אמרו אדם אחר. This nobody would say. ולא יגנו עצמם באומרם ששרץ הארץ ושרץ העוף, לוקח 2. The same exact idea, they don't see that themselves, they saying the same exact idea over the שרצים. וזה מן הביאור בעניין לא יעלה מן הנער השחל. ואשוב להשלים הכוונה שהתחלתי לבעבר, כשיקרה שיתיילד בעל חיים, I'm going a little bit weiter, he explains this in length, he goes over and over, again and again. כבר ביארתי לך עניינים שבהם תתבונן ותאמר, זה הבעל חיים, חייב אדם על אכילתו כך וכך מלכויות, וזה אינו חייב על כך. מאלו כתובים מתבאר לך, כי מי שאכל בעל חיים כולו, לא נבקש לו שיעור ולא נאמר אם היה בו כזית, אבל אם אוכל יתוש קטן. So, okay. Then he adds, and he says, והנה אמרו גם כן, המשנה נקביו עובר משום אל תשקצו, which means it seems like it's an extension of the איסור. וכן מן דשתי מאיה בקרנה דאומנה, והוא כלי המציצה עובר בשעות ואל תשקצו את נפשותיכם, והוא ההיקש שבאכילת הדברים הנמאסים ושתיית הדברים המגונים שרחיקו מרוב בני אדם, כי כל זה מוזר ממנו. Now, he explains as well this idea in the שורשים, and he says in length, he explains this in length beautifully. He says over there, I want to read you this so we can get the idea more clear. He says the following. דע, כי אתה תמצא, אפילו תמצא לשון חכמים, כי מי שיעבור עזרה פלונית עבר על כך וכך לאווים. You find in Chazal, in the Gemara, that by violating a certain isur, it accumulates לאווים. So you get 5 לאווים for a certain violation. או מי שיבטל דבר פלוני עבר על כך וכך עשה. You don't do a certain מצוות עשה, so you violated 5 עשה. לא יתחייב מזה שתמלא עליו עמהם. In other words, even though it's true, says the Rambam, is going to explain that you're violating many isurim, or you didn't commit, you didn't exercise a certain amount of aseh, but you can't calculate them in mitzvot, in Sefer HaMitzvot, as lavim or as aseh, nafka mina, to get malkot, for example. So he explains. לא יתחייב מזה שתמנה עליו עמהם כולם כל אחד בייחוד, ולא כל עשה בייחוד. כי העניין אחד ואין בו כפל. It's one love or one עשה. ואומנם אמרו שהוא עובר כך וכך עשה, או כך וכך לאווים בעבור הכפל. The Gemara says not like that. The Gemara says you do accumulate איסורים או לאווים. אין עשה, אין ביטול עשה. במצרים, כי הוא עבר על אזהרות רבות או סיבובים, האלוהים אם לא תמצאם יאמרו לוקה 2 או לוקה 3. You will not find that they say you get מלכות twice or 3 times. That they don't say. שאז ימנה כל אחד בייחוד, כי לא ילקה אחד 2 מלכויות על שם אחד. That's not possible. כמו שהתבהר מה שמפורסם. And he gives examples. He gives examples. הרי היה על כל מה שאמרנו, כל שאין לו ציצית בבגדו, חז"ל say עם נחות מ"ד, עובר ב5 עשה. without ציצית בבגדו, you violate 5 עשה. בעבור שנכבל בו לשון הציווי 5 פעמים, it says 5 times. So you would think that you can count this as 5 עשה, he goes to the thing, says no, it's not. על דרך הזאת בעצמה, כל שאינו מניח תפילין עובר ב8 עשה. 8 עשה, you violate if you don't, you עובר 8 עשה. If you don't wear tefillin. So you don't calculate that in Sefer HaMitzvot and you don't get punished for 8 different things. And that's the way he explains in length, okay? That's the way it goes over here, he explains this idea, and that's what we learn from here. It comes out like this. Right. So he explains here, the way I understand, is that he says that whenever you say,
so you'll never find Lashon Lokeh, so they're okay.
זה משם אחד, אולי זה צריך להיות 2 שמות, צריך להיות 2 סיבות. יש גם לוקח עליו משום זה ולוקח משום זה, משום...
Take a look, מכות י' ג', what exactly... What does it say? מה כתוב? חייב. It doesn't say לוקה. Right? Does it say the לשון לוקה? It doesn't say the לשון לוקה. That's his... עובר, איווה. Beautiful. Okay, תזין, what does it say?
אחר פוטיטה לוקה 4. ונראה לוקה 5, משום שאלצה שולט על הארץ. תראה לוקה 6.
So he already... ויהיו it says חייב?
That's what they want to differentiate by the Rambam. It says Chayav and Lokeh is different. פרק ב' מהלכות הסרות אורך י"א. בית י"א.
Let's see how he wrote it here. Okay, let me read you the Rambam inside the Halacha itself. הלכות מאכלות אסורות פרק ב'. Let's see the Halacha inside. האוכל כזית משרץ המים, לוקה מן התורה שנאמר, אל תשקצו את נפשותיכם בכל השרץ השורץ ולא תטמאו בהם, הרי כלל בלאו זה שרץ הארץ, שרץ העוף ושרץ המים. ואיזהו שרץ המים? אלו הבריאות הקטנות כמו התולעים והלוקה שבמים. והבריאות הגדולות ביותר שהם חיות הים, כללו של דבר, כל שאינו בצורת הדגים. Over here says אינו בצורת הדגים. not the way the Sefer Chinuch wrote. He said, "Umibriot dakot ashatot b'mayim." In other words, it has a feature by itself, according to the Sefer Chinuch. You can identify the sheretz hamayim just by the fact that the briot dakot ashatot b'mayim. The Rambam says anything a little bit different. The Rambam says anything that doesn't fall under the definition of אלו הבריאות הקטנות, כמו התולעים והלוקה שבמים, והבריאות הגדולות ביותר שהן חיות הים, כללו של דבר, כל שאינו בצורת הדגים, if it doesn't have the feature of a fish, לא דג טמא ולא דג טהור, כגון כלב המים והדולפין והצפרדע וכיוצא בהם. So this is it. Now he goes into all the different types of shratzim. By the way, he says over here, nice chidush, he says there's a difference between the sheretz השורץ על הארץ and רמס, אלו המינים שנבראו באשפות ובגופי הנבלות, those bugs that grew and created from the dirt itself, כגון רימה ותולה, you leave garbage, you go to the garbage yard, the dump yard, and it stays there for months, let's say, so you have things that grow within it, those רימה ותולה וכיוצא בהם, שאינם נבראים מזכר ונקבה, אלא מן הגללים שהסריחו וכיוצא בהם, הם הנקראים רומס על הארץ. ואוכל מהם כזית לוקה. ואלו המינים הנבראים בפירות ומאכלות, the other types that grow within the fruits, if פירשו, that's already לוקה שנאמר לכל השרץ השורץ על הארץ, not רמס, שרץ. What does he explain?
That's the Arba Makuyot and things like that. It sounds like he's saying the potita is actually have
all things.
All the things.
Right. That's how he explained.
Like Rashi says that it's only shit of the mind.
Right. So again, we're getting to it. So in the halacha, you hear this beautiful things that he found. So let's see it in the Rambam itself. But that seems to be the pshat, חזק וברוך. הרי שהייתה הבריאה משרץ העוף, הוא משרץ המים, הוא משרץ הארץ. Just like we saw in the ספר המצוות. כגון שהיו לה כנפיים ומלאכת על הארץ, כשאר שוטים, והייתה רבה במים. So it had all those things, ואם הייתה יתר על זה מן המינים שנבראו בפירות, לוקח ל4 מלכויות. In other words, comes out nice the way he explains, seems like that's the way he explains the Gemara, and therefore the Magid Mishnah says, דברי רבנו בזאת הבא בהם פירוש למה שאמרו בפרק אלו אלוקין, אכל פוטיטה לוקח 4, אכל נמלה לוקח 5, אכל צירה לוקח 6, כבר ביאר רבנו שיטתו זו בספר המצוות במצווה ק"פ, as we saw בארוכה, פירש הוא הפך מפירוש הגאונים, שהם סבורים שאם באו שני להבים בדבר אחד, לוקים עליהם 2, ורבנו אינו סבור כן, he rejected that as we saw, ועל כן אמר שריבוי המלכויות מבנה שיש בבריאות אלו פעולות ותכונות שונות ונכללות באחד מן המינים החלוקים. In other words, it has שרץ המים, שרץ העוף, שרץ...
So that's the difference. Different shemot in the same item? That's the difference.
It has this bug, is not שרץ... the bug, the שרץ העוף, that לוקה 6, is not because it's שרץ העוף. שרץ העוף you לוקה only 1. That's the כלל the Rambam said, but over here it has שרץ העוף.
On one maaseh multiple times, as long as you have different averot in the same maaseh.
Right.
Yes.
That's also the Gemara with Lokeh, with Eshet Ach, she got Eshet.
Very good. Now I want to take you to the basic of Baal Teshaketzu, which means if we learn the way the Gemara brings down that it's something that you discussed it from. Davar shelibo shel adam nim'as bo. So what happens if you are such that you, as the Gemara calls it, nefesh yafat tochlenu, you're not disgusted. So over here we found a machloket, and it's very worthwhile seeing because many times things that are written that could be Baal Teshaketzu, for some, others would feel that it's not Baal Teshaketzu. We already saw Knesset HaGdolah that it says that if majority of the people are disgusted by, even if for you it's nefesh yafah, you're not disgusted from taking something like that. Let's say, one of the things that we said, a person that would eat in something that's disgusting, he doesn't care. Would he violate the Isur? So Knesset HaGdolah says we go Batar majority. Let's see the Pri Chadash. Pri Chadash says, פרי חדש, ביאר דינים אלו כך. דבל תשקצו לא דינן בתערובה. We don't follow majority. אלא אם לדידי לא מאוס, if you are not disgusted, אף לרוב העולם מאוס שערי. You're permitted. The other people are disgusted by this thing, but you're not. You feel okay with it. It's not, what is disgusting? It's good. What's disgusting? What are you talking about? So it's permitted for you. כמו שאמרינו בהמקשה, במה המקשה? שיליה, נפש יפה תאכלנו. שיליה, who is שיליה? It's disgusting. People disgusted by it. נפש יפה means לשון סגינור. נפש יפה means a person that's rough, that can eat a person alive like this, a cannibal. ואם לדיד... כן, במה, ודאי. ואם לדידי מאוס, if you are disgusted, ולכולי עלמא אין מאוס, you're very finicky. אסור. It's for you is בל תשקצו. ובל תשקצו. Yeah? So, we see that he argues on the Knesset הגדולה. I want to take you to what Chacham Ovadia brings down in a couple of places. He brings down, for instance, in Halichot Olam,
So apparently
Chelek Aleph.
kids to eat something that they don't like, according to this. Some kids, they don't like eggs.
Yes.
They're disgusted by eggs.
Yeah, if it's disgusted, yeah. They're disgusted,
Yeah,
yeah.
but I could say everything.
So let me just, I just want to, we don't have much time. I want to read you what Chacham Ovadia writes in Halichot Olam, פרשת תולדות, דף ל"ז. הנה מזמן העירוני מה שאמרו בגמרא ירושלמי, במעשה של אמו של רבי ישמעאל שהיה בא מבית המדרש. רבי ישמעאל used to come from בית המדרש. And אמו של רבי ישמעאל used to come and wash his feet, and used to drink the water from washing his feet. It's disgusting. כששמע רבי ישמעאל שהייתה אמו עושה כן, היה מסרב בדבר. He denied it, חס ושלום. So she came to complain in front of the חכמים. עד שבאה לפני חכמים והייתה קובלת על רבי ישמעאל שאינו מקיים מצוות כיבוד אביהם. Imagine today you go to complain to the rabbi can't do anything. What are you complaining to the rabbis? But back then you go to the rabbi, if the rabbi calls you up and tells you have to do it, there's no like, I'll call a different rabbi, you don't have to listen, I'm not picking up the phone. Today you don't pick up the phone. You block him, that's it, you put him on the block. There's no such thing. The rabbi called you, you pick up, and you don't argue. He said, you do. So she came complaining. That's like a dead end. You can't do anything about it if they... ונבהלו חכמים בדבר. For what? נבהלו חכמים בדבר ששאלו לרבי ישמעאל וסיפר להם המעשה. They got scared to hear such a story. וציוו עליו שניחנה לעשות רצונה שזהו כבודה. First of all, I understood from the לשון of the Gemara that אינו מקיים מצוות כיבודם ונבהלו חכמים בדבר. In other words, their mother came to them and showed them, he's not מקיים מצוות כיבוד אביהם. מה מקיים מצוות כיבוד אביהם? חס ושלום. It's like, they start trampling. Impossible. Somebody's not מקיים... Today, דחילק.
Find one that
And נבהלו.
עד ששאלו לרבי ישמעאל וסיפר להם המעשה. So רבי ישמעאל, it fits the story. רבי ישמעאל had to excuse something. She told him, it's not מקיים מצוות כיבוד אביהם. They got so scared. Impossible. Somebody in כלל ישראל, or רבי ישמעאל especially. So he told them the story, וציוו עליו שהניחנה לעשות רצונה, שזהו כבודה. She wants. That's her honor. You have to let her wash and drink it. So he goes through what about the ruach ra, but when he deals about the din of בל תשקצו, he brings the זבחי צדק, שכתב ודע שאם הם מאוסים עליו, אם הם לרוב העולם אינו מאוסים, אסור לו משום בל תשקצו. If majority of the world, just like we saw in the Knesset הגדולה, not like the בית חדש, וכן אם לרוב העולם מאוס, אפילו אם לדידה אינו מאוס, אסור משום בל תשקצו, כנסת הגדולה. Okay? Then he brings down, גם בזבחי צדק כתב בשם הפרי חדש, again he brings the זבחי צדק that says in the פרי חדש, שדבר שכל העולם מואסים בו, אף לנפש היפה שאין מואס, בטלו דעתה אצל כל אדם, ואסור משום בל תשקצו, זולת דברים שקצת אדם מואסים בהם, ואחרים אינם מואסים. Which means like this. There's two dinim. I saw the פרי חדש inside, and that's the way it fits nicely. There's two dinim, the way the זבחי צדק, Rav Abdallah Somech, explains. One is something that majority of the world are disgusted by. So the Knesset HaGdolah says, not like the Pri Chadash argues, you go, it's asur mishum bal teshaketzu, even though you're not disgusted. Pri Chadash clearly says not like that. He says that it's mutar. But then the Pri Chadash says that there are some things that Chachamim ased, like we saw in the halacha in Kuf Tedvav, that Chachamim ased mishum bal teshaketzu, like those things that we said, yesh bo ki, ve're'i, ve'kelim meusim. So why is that? Says the Zivchei Tzedek, or the Pri Chadash explains, I'm saying he says clearly, but the Zivchei Tzedek explains, that's something that Chachamim were kovea, which means everybody's disgusted by that. That's something that everybody's disgusted by. So therefore you're not allowed. You're also disgusted, but you want to drink from it, it's not allowed. So there's two dinim. One is majority of the people are disgusted, so then according to Pri Chadash you'll be allowed if you're not. Knesset HaGdolah says you're not allowed, and if everybody's disgusted, then even the Pri Chadash doesn't agree. But I want to read you the pshat that the Shoel Umeshiv says. I'm sorry?
What are your feet? It should be something that disgusted by everybody.
So today I would agree with you that this is something that's disgusted by everybody today. I'm not sure that back then, which was a third world country and water was, listen, I want to tell you, today you open today even from the faucet people don't drink. They have to have they open a bottle. Why? Ich weiß nicht, I don't know, but that's what happens. Even though you have filter in the faucet, they don't drink from the faucet with the filter. Back then I want to tell you how they used to take a bath. The mother or the father used to go to the well, walk half an hour. It's good half an hour because the Gemara says that half an hour, if your bathroom is half an hour away from your home, that would be good. Alzot itpalel kol chazid. What is that? The Gemara says the et metzor. What is that? What's the et metzor? That's the bathroom close to the house. So what's close? Somewhere in half an hour. That would be very good. It's not too bad. So you would walk very far to bring a bucket. You carry it home, and now it's bath day. So how many people would use it? One. You go in the bath, and now what? Today? Impossible. Bal teshaketzu on the highest form. You throw it out and you need new. Back then, the whole family would take the bath and then you think you throw it? What do you do with it? You think you throw it? You wash the floor. Then afterwards, you recycle things. What do you think? You recycle. You recycle things. And we see it all over. I can give you many examples in the Gemara of how they used to live. There were kinim all over. There's so many dinim about kinim that's all over. It's implications of so many different laws. So you would fall asleep and there were kinim all over. And mitar, you wake up in the morning, the stains all over because while you move to the right and to the left, you already killed like 10 bugs every time. So that's the way it was. There's no question about it. People used to smell bad. So what do? They put a certain they put pilpelin. They put a certain, pepper in the mouth in order to make it to cover up on the bad smell. And you take a shower once. Yidden used to take a shower once Erev Shabbat. That would be considered. Too many. People used to take a shower once every few years. And then there was black plague, and people died. They blame us for it. Why? But the truth is, you take a shower, you keep clean. Anyway, we can keep on talking about that in length, but I want to tell you what the Shoel Umeshiv says, which is a different pshat than the... So let's see. ומה שכתב בתוספות במחלקים בין דבר ומוסרח לגמרי. In other words, it's the same thing with a clear explanation to those that still need it. מה שכתבו בתוספות שמחלקים, I'm reading you the words of the שואל משיב. מה שכתבו בתוספות שמחלקים בין דבר ומוסרח לגמרי, דמאיס טובה, ואם כן מבואר, כמו שכתב בפרי חדש, יש לחלק בין דברים המאוסים טובה, דשייך ואל תשקצו, מה שאין כן בעינם מאוסים כל כך, שאינו אסור רק למען דמקפיד על מאיסותו, אבל לאחר שערי. Well, it's the same thing that we saw in the Zivchei Tzedek with the extra explanation. It just says some things are meusim tuva, very disgusted. When you have something that's very disgusted, such a thing you would violate bal teshaketzu, even according to the Pri Chadash. But some things that are not that disgusted, and therefore it depends on the people. Now, there used to be things that back then would be considered disgusting to people for various reasons. People were, as I said, it was a more filthy lifestyle. That's the way it was all over. There was no bath in the house. There was no sinks in the house. There was no sprays. There was no creams. You would want to anoint your body. You would take on a regular basis oil. You take olive oil after every meal, right? That's what it says. "V'tkashtem v'tem kedoshim, kedishtem elu mayim achonim." This machloket, what it means. "Kedishtem mayim rishonim v'tem kedoshim mayim achonim," or it means that you sicha, you would put oil around your hand. So imagine a person that takes olive oil and puts it around his hand, he puts it on his head. There's a story in the Gemara we spoke about in Bava Kama, in a choivel, that there was a lady that saw oil. She took off her head covering and she put it around her hair. Today you would take olive oil. Today you would put such a thing. And don't think that she goes home and she washes it right away. Today if you spill a drop of olive oil on your finger, right away you go and you use 10 times soap around it to make sure that it's out. So that's the way it was. So when we're dealing with things like that, some things fall under the Isur of Bal Teshaketzu and some don't. We're saying a klal. What falls under Isur of Bal Teshaketzu according to the Pri Chadash, which seems to be the halacha. By the way, Chacham Ovadia in Yabi Omer says very nicely, he brings down that in Yabi Omer Chelek Bet, Yored De'ah Hei Hei, he brings down that if a person said a beracha, the Bach brings this down in Siman, Sof Siman Reshvav. A person that said a beracha on the fruit, let's say, and it fell. So, taking it from the floor, it fell, I don't know what, on a disgusting place. Right? Today, if it falls on the floor that was just washed, it's disgusting. People don't drink it. You either wash it. That nefesh yafa tishtefenu. But most people, the kids today, if it falls and you catch it on the air, it's like the sheretz that still didn't reach the ground. It's already. That's the way it is today. So it says here that מי שבירך על מאכל, לאחר שבירך נמאס המאכל בעיניו, יש לו לאכול מקצתו, אף על פי שנרקב. Even without falling on the floor. You say the beracha, you look the other way, and you see, wow, it's disgusting, it's rotten. כדי שלא יהיה ברכתו לבטלה. No, he brings a מחלוקת. So Istoleh, Chacham Ovadia, Istoleh this in what we started, and you ask, what is the Bal Teshaketzu, the right or not? Bracha levatala, we know it's a machloket. The Rambam holds it's Isur Torah, and the Rosh and the Tosfot holds it's Isur de Rabbanan. And Bal Teshaketzu is a machloket we mentioned before, Rishonim, whether it's Isur Torah or not. If you hold it's Isur de Rabbanan, so we can understand what the Bach says. Eat a little bit, so you're not going to have Bracha levatala, which is Isur Torah according to the Rambam. If you learn like the Rambam, you don't have to. I'm saying even according to the Tosfot, Rosh Hashanah Lamed Daled, that if you, in order not to violate one the Rabbanan, this probably is the Rabbanan Isur Kollel, which is a little bit more lenient. But regardless, he says like this: in order not to violate this Isur the Rabbanan, you could push out. But if Bal Teshaketzu is Isur Torah, so then you can't violate the Isur Torah. So he brings a machloket. This is to let this. It's very nice. Chazak v'baruch.